All right. Well, we can get started here, Graham. First, just want to thank you for joining the show. I always start off each episode just by kind of giving a little bit of framing for where I think the conversation might take us. It definitely seems, just from what I've gone into with your work and just how I found you on the timeline, probably going to primarily focus around the virtual ecosystem. I know a big expansion for them over to Solana has happened recently, but I just wanted to the conversation by having you introduce yourself. How did you get involved in putting together these virtual daily updates that we see? And what sort of brought you into the AI ecosystem?
Yeah, sure. So I guess it all started back in November. The Virtuals Launchpad on base started late October, but I was busy doing other things. I was at DevCon in Bangkok. I was aware of Virtuals. I remember looking at their homepage and just feeling, probably like a lot of people feel, it's a little bit overwhelming. You're not really sure where to start. And yeah, so a couple of weeks passed by, start digesting the information a little bit more. Really hopped into it when, I guess, right around when it started to get popularity, right? Like the Launchpad, where all of a sudden all these AI agents are launching, right, from zero, just like a pump fund token. It's very interesting because you see, these like very reputable, smart AI builders launching a token and building this product with like crypto rails, right? So you just do a little backstory, research, you see who this person is, what they do, and you're like, whoa, this token is worth 50,000 market cap. It's like based on the reputation alone of the builder. It gets very interesting very fast, and then all of a sudden there's like shipping this product that actually is going to make your life easier, right? This is happening all very fast, especially at the end of November, where Degen Ape Trader with its trust token was live, and a long list of like really cool projects that are popping up. And this is where I started getting interested, right? And this is obviously, I was in the trenches, I was trading there a bit and just trying to keep up with all the projects, and trying to also like tell people in my inner circles about what's going on. And there was just like this gap of information. There was like this whole thing where it's like, oh, I don't get it. Why is there a token? What is an AI agent? What is this doing for me? And basically, it didn't happen right away. So like it took me about an entire month to say, you know what, I need to do like daily updates, not even just for like other people, just for myself. Because I felt like my head was just like filled with so much information. I just needed to contextualize it and organize it and categorize it in a way where other people could understand it and like tell the story of what is actually happening in the ecosystem. And that's all it was. That was all it was. And next thing you know, yeah, I mean, the Virtuals protocol team, they particularly enjoy them and they share it with like their community as well. And here I am, I just been plugging away at it. And I think it's like a piece of information for, yeah, basically keeping people in the know, because as we know, there is a lot going on out there.
Dude, absolutely. And thank you for putting them together. That's definitely what, introduced me to your content. I was just looking about virtual. Obviously, the AI market over the past month has really pulled back a lot. So was just looking for updates as to what was going on in virtual. And that's where I found your account and just saw that you had so much thought on the ecosystem. I know we talked about some topics for the episode. Did you want to maybe talk about sort of the evolution of AI agent, maybe what sentiment was when you first discovered them, and sort of where is that sentiment now?
Yeah, the sentiment in the beginning was very exciting, and to me, it still is. I think a lot of people have moved on because, yeah, I mean, that mind share was just picking up steam so hard in December. I mean, as right as well as it should be, because a lot of these tools, especially with the crypto rails, is basically going to make everyone's life so much easier when all these products actually come out and come to fruition, right? So sentiment in the market, I'm not really too worried about it. At the end of the day, anyone who's not using these AI agents is going to be left behind. Like it is like the ultimate edge that we're going to need to autonomously trade, do your research for you. The DeFi AI kind of category, which is like just optimizing yields for you, just all autonomously like making money for you based on your preferences and their skill sets. I mean, sentiment should be extremely high, and it still is. AI is still quite a big narrative in crypto, and as well as it should be. But yeah, I think as like the retracement has already occurred over the past month, 6 weeks. Once that kind of runs its switch, it could be done now. Like we don't know. It could just all of a sudden like bottom at this point and start making its next move. I think that's when a lot of people start getting excited because there is going to be a lot of opportunity in the market.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I feel like we've seen a lot of capitulation. It's hard to say if we fully bottomed just because the majors have been so slippy lately. And I definitely think a lot of it is just part of a larger macro bull market that we found ourselves in. But it'll certainly be interesting once more attention comes to the space. I personally think that, we're just kind of waiting for a big update or a big, new agent to be introduced to recapture a lot of that mind share. I think that's sort of part of the problem is that crypto has always been a game of just chasing very shiny objects. And unfortunately, like across the board, that interest just kind of fell apart. Like we had the Trump token introduced early January. Couldn't have been a more shiny coin to chase, and just a lot of liquidity got sucked up into that. We had a lot of, I guess, faltering in the market with the tariff news. So a lot of stuff pulled back pretty steeply. So it wasn't just AI, it was pretty much the entire market across all parts of crypto really just pulled back steeply. But in the midst of that pullback, it seemed like a lot of the share that AI was holding just has kind of gone with the wind at this point. And, I think the new sentiment I see on the timeline is that there's just not a big desire for these bots that are chasing the market or tracking the market because the market's so down. And where we saw like the premier agents like AIXBT or some of these other analysis tools, when the market's going down, there's really not a whole lot of use for these analysis bots.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what you're saying is completely true. And the other side of it is that's why DeFi, right? DFAI is the long-term narrative because that's about searching and optimizing, which are consistent and long-term. So, right, if you have a fund of $1 million, you're gonna able to like find those 10% APY or even like 20% at certain times, or like there could be like the new pool over here that's 40% for like a limited amount of time. So these are the narratives, like the long-term narratives. But I agree, like the trading tools are definitely cool because the market is cool. But to be honest, those are the ones that I'm most excited about because those are going to be working for you, and probably, and it might not be every day, but they'll be able to dig up those like 10x's for you while you sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to ask, just in your research on virtuals, are there any projects that you think right now have kind of gone under the radar just over the past couple of weeks due to attention being off their ecosystem?
Oh yeah, there's quite a few here. Let me pull up a list here and let's just take a look. Um, a lot are just getting crushed due to the market and the token itself, which all the agents are paired to. Um, sure, let's go down the list. I think that. How low do you want to go? Give me a market cap, and let's look around there.
We can go as low as you want. Let's draw a line at like 2 million.
Okay, I think at 8 million, the NeuroBro team are working super hard, and they're doing a lot. Um, they they're going for like a top of funnel approach where their bot is their AI agent bro is like posting across like TikTok, and they have like 10,000 followers on TikTok now and getting toward like 1 million impressions. And they just started about a month ago, and they're just posting like TA and all this, and they're trying to bring people in from TikTok to their Telegram without actually selling the token, just getting people their tools in the community. And they recently partnered with Kaizen Trading, with Brian Jung's trading group of like 25,000 people, and they're providing a specialized AI agent. So NeuroBro, their team is cooking for sure. Um, we go down the risk curve a little bit here, or up it, I guess. I see some interesting things from, I'm seeing on here, Agent Zavi or a market cap, and let's look around there.
We can go as low as you want. Let's draw a line at like 2 million.
Okay. I think at 8 million, the NeuroBro team are working super hard, and they're doing a lot. Um, they they're going for like a top of funnel approach where their bot is their AI agent bro is like posting across like TikTok, and they have like 10,000 followers on TikTok now and getting toward like 1 million impressions. And they just started about a month ago, and they're just posting like TA and all this, and they're trying to bring people in from TikTok to their Telegram without actually selling the token, just getting people their tools in the community. And they recently partnered with Kaizen Trading, with Brian Jung's trading group of like 25,000 people, and they're providing a specialized AI agent. So NeuroBro, their team is cooking for sure. We go down the risk curve a little bit here, or up it, I guess. I see some interesting things from, I'm seeing on here, Agent Zavi or XAVI. It's a trading terminal agent. I'm seeing a lot of cool updates coming from them. They're at about 4 million right now. Crow agent, I am seeing a lot of, there's like a TA, technical analysis agent. I see them continually shipping, and I see a lot of positive P&L on the timeline. There's a lot of people who are making some good money off like some of the calls there. Shekel is like a digital gold. Right now they have a digital gold, like a Bitcoin fund that's like autonomously trading right now. It's their first fund, and they're going to be using other funds to come in and autonomously trade for them as well. Let's keep going. Trust Me Bros is one that I particularly like and I hold and I've held since day one. It's Degen Ape Trading's this is his account name. It's his like trading bot based on his his history of trades. And now there's like hyper liquid copy trading for the AI agent. So that's pretty interesting. And that's at 2.5 million. Yeah, there's a lot. There's actually a lot here at like 2 million. Like it just keeps going. Like there's a lot like VU virtuals, Gecko agent. Like these are like autonomous like DeFi type trading agents that just haven't had their time in the sun yet. But they were once high, but now they're kind of below maybe where they should be, but maybe they are where they should be, and they just need more time to develop and develop community.
Yeah, I'm very curious to that point. For this wave of agents that kind of came, there was a period when everything on Virtual's ecosystem was just humming along, and it wasn't uncommon to see an agent bond and then immediately go to 10 or 20 mil. Do you think that we're going to see a resurgence or recapturing of mindshare for the stuff that's already come out the pipeline, or do you think that people are going to just prioritize launches once the market heats back up?
I think it's going to come down to utility. I don't think it's like a meme like that. I think it's going to be the effectiveness and the simply like the P&L of whatever this agent is doing for you. That's going to spread because at the end of the day, what made AI XBT so attractive was the people who are using it to actually make trades, making money, and then they're posting on the timeline, and that kind of like consolidated the whole shit posting side of it. Posting side of it, the AI agent, just like the chatbot or the app bot that I say, because it's more than a chatbot at this point, is that is like the marketing for actual product. Now the community that uses the product is actually effectively making money using the product, right? And then at that point, I guess like a month or two ago now, they're posting their wins and everything, and then that kind of like catalyzed everything and like supported the floor, and like that's where everything just kind of like took off. So I think as these AI agents, these other ones that maybe I just mentioned under 10 mil, as they keep developing and their communities keep growing and they start making money, right? Or their value proposition becomes too big to ignore. Then the community goes out there and they start talking about how great it is. And then the next thing you know, there's more people, more eyes, more mind share, more visibility, higher market caps, and demand for the token based on, how much money they could be actually making.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I guess, is it as simple as just boiling it down to P&L? Do you think ultimately the next best agent will just be whoever can make the most correct calls?
In this market, yes. I think that's all people really care about, to be honest, at the end of the day. We're all degens in a way, and especially since the Solana expansion has happened, it's like the degen chain. I think we're going to see a huge demand for these AI agents, crypto, on-chain analysis, and social analysis to create high probability plays. I don't know. You can fight me on this if you like. It's just, what else does a degen want other than making more money, right? I think there's going to be a lot of great AI agents that are going to actually like create like a whole economy, but that's like a very long term kind of outlook. And there's going to be a lot of value exchange, and they use crypto rails for exchange this piece of work or this music or this video in exchange for tokens, and these AI agents will be able to transact with each other on your behalf and kind of be like a project manager for your own work. But short term, I think all eyes are on how much money can I make on AI agents and how can these things make money for me and help me. That's just like where we are in the market, right? Everyone is just like so down on their bags. They're so upset with like alt market, and it's because they don't make money, right? So these are the problems that a lot of AI agents are trying to solve. I think everyone realizes that's where the niche is, where the highest demand is. So I think we'll see that take off first.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I definitely wouldn't fight you on that point. I think it's funny when there's a subsect of people in crypto who don't want to acknowledge that people are here to make money, right? Like there's definitely people who just like preach community to the point of not even acknowledging that like the people are in crypto ultimately are here to extract money from the market or one another. But it does bring a good question as to like, what does that future of trading look like when you actually incorporate AI agents? Because To your point, AI XBT really got a lot of legs because of some of the profit that it was making, but it also very quickly became saturated where you just have a ton of people tagging it on Twitter, sometimes to the point of it contradicting itself. So it's really hard to have a bot that is like consistently profitable, or not a bot, but an AI agent. So it will be interesting once it evolves, and you could almost see a future where if the agents can actually become better traders, then you're just going to see people buying the tokenized agents because the agents are going to be the only ones capable of executing in such quick timeframes, right? Because eventually you'll just see such accelerated tradings as it's more akin to like traditional markets where you just see a lot of algos going at war against each other.
Yeah. So basically, I guess what we can think about the future as is there's going to be a lot of AI agent. There's going to be a lot of competition, trading competition. There's going to be a lot of. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be like almost what do you call it? Like a very like dark kind of sci-fi future. I forget the word I'm thinking of right now, but it's going to be strange. And at the end of the day, the best winners, like I guess as a human, if I'm trying to capitalize this on the market, is you just need to pick the best horse. You need the best, in the traditional market, it's like algorithm. You need the best algorithm. You need the best AI agent to compete. It needs to be faster. It needs to find opportunities sooner. And I think this is why you can see how like DeFi AI is going to possibly top out on this, where like everyone's like optimizing yields at all times. But this is where I kind of get interested about like the trading agents, right? Because there is edges there. There is going to be one agent that is going to be able to take on-chain analysis, social analysis, and transact all this, or essentially the word is like orchestrate all these data points faster than the other AI agents and win. There's going to be one. And then there's going to be another one that's going to be faster than that. And there's going to be one faster than that. And it's about like picking those horses as we, as these keep on coming up. And this could be 3 months. This could be 6 months. This could be tomorrow. There's a lot of builders coming in. There's a lot of really smart people coming to crypto because they see the potential of using the crypto rails. Whereas AI agents in Web 2, they don't have a financial side to them. They don't have a bank. They don't have any way to like make payments at this point. But I'm sure they will, to be honest. I'm sure like PayPal or things like that will start incorporate stuff. But right now it's all about crypto, financial rails, trading, getting the fastest trader, getting the best DeFi optimizer. And then when it starts topping out, so making sure you have the best one.
Yeah, I guess that's where it gets tricky is that, the best ones might not even be tokenized or publicly available, right? Like if you had the best bot in the market, is that something that you would want other people to have access to? Is the best agent the one with the highest market cap or the highest P&L? I guess to your initial point, you could argue that it would be P&L, but definitely interesting to see. And like, I've always found the Web3 space in terms of AI very interesting because you start to see legitimate incentives for builders where like, for NFTs or shitcoins, there's not much of a differentiation between the back end of the projects aside from just marketing. But now it's like the better the devs, the more sophisticated product come up with. That could be like $1 billion hedge funds, right? And if they're coming up with like these really really sophisticated agents that are gonna put everyone else to shame, they're probably not gonna just make that public for people to access.
Yeah, you're probably right about that too. It's going to be weird. It's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. I think that, yeah, the $1 billion, that's really tough to want to argue that the $1 billion hedge funds are going to have an edge. I think that is 100% going to be the case. And I'm just hoping for, I'm a bit of an optimist and I'm just hoping for a future where this, team of like 10 people are going to pull off this like amazing feat, like Silicon Valley, right? And with it, like just like the show, I mean, just be able to pull off this like incredible like technical feat and yeah, get a token, send it to a billion or two. They're happy. They have huge resources to continue to build and grow their ecosystem. Like this is the way that I'm hoping things go. I'm just an optimist and a moron at that point, but yeah, let's just hope for the best.
No, dude. I mean, I've definitely talked to a lot of founders, through this show, just about the state of the space, and there definitely are people who see that vision. I talked to the SQD or Squid team a couple of weeks ago, and like they've been building for 3 years, just collecting data for the space. So, going back to what you were saying earlier about finding ways to extract the most from the market and make the most sense of it. I mean, they just came up with like a beautiful plan of just, yeah, what we can control is data we don't know how these agents are going to evolve, but like we have the data, they have a pretty large data moat. Like I definitely think there are small teams of people who are really prepared to navigate this space. So I don't think your vision is overly optimistic.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I agree. We just don't know. And at the end of the day, it's a creative game, right? How you're able to contextualize, for example, like social data, like that is so difficult to do given all like the amount of information that's just constantly being streamed. On-chain data, a little bit easier, right? It's just being able to track, inflows, outflows, whales. Just you can see like the volume, which dictates a lot, and you can kind of like track the smarter people, right, and where they're going first, and who has like the track record. But yeah, that social data side is where the creativity, and that's where like AIXDT is like quite good at that, right? It can contextualize so much social data and give you like proper analysis. And there's a lot of creativity around that, right? How it's built, how you see it, how you want it to spit out, its analysis. Yeah, that's the thing. Like there could be like a small team who's just like sees it a different way and is able to offer that differentiated product that is just going to like take, sweep the feet out of everyone and really create something special.
Dang, that's a really good perspective there. No, I definitely like the creativity, and the social data is something that I hadn't really considered too much in terms of these agents, but that's a good point.
So much data. It's just so much. And it's just going to get weirder and weirder and bigger. And it's just, if you think X is going to be, let me put it this way, is X going to be the only, social platform that's going to be able to dictate markets, right? Yes, there is a big one, but probably not. There's a lot of like TikTok has its own areas of expertise, and even like WarpPass to an extent is like has like its own crypto niche, and it's about adding all of these up and creating like those narratives, be able to track the narratives and be able to create analysis around that. Like no one has sufficiently done all of it at once, but there are a lot of people working towards it. So yeah, keep an eye on that as well.
That's a great shout, honestly. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's so easy to just get lost in the sauce of like X because it's just so easy to find conversation. But you're totally right. There's like a whole community over on Warpcast. I know they drove a lot of stuff or a lot of traction behind Banker and like early versions of Yapper bots. But yeah, definitely. I mean, looking at meme coins, right? Like Chill Guy was a product of TikTok. Mooding Descent was a product of TikTok. Those were just some super large meme coins that a lot of people didn't see coming. But if you had more of a pulse on the data over there, or just what the social sentiment was, it would have been easy in hindsight.
Yep, I think you're right. It's just too much. There's too much information. There's just a lot going on, as you know. It's just hard to keep up with everything, and that's kind of the key to all this, right? It's like there's just too much to keep up with. So, you can have a newsletter. You can like, get letter. Like for example, I have like the Virtuals daily update. That's really helpful once a day about one niche thing. But you need daily updates about almost every single sector to actually understand truly what's going on. And that's kind of why we're like doom scrolling on Twitter all the time, right? We're just trying to get as much information we possibly can to keep up. And sometimes it gets lost because it just becomes doom scrolling and your brain can't really handle the information. There's so much information. It can't actually contextualize things. Some people, the people who make the most money in this space are like better at pointing to the right information, right? Contextualizing and making moves. And that's the hardest thing because there's so much data out there. So these are what these agents, I think, the agents of the social aspect for sure are going to be key for.
Yeah, absolutely. I did want to ask you a little bit about your daily updates. I know you said you do them for yourself and you post them. When did you start making these daily updates officially and decided like I'm going to do this every single day?
This was in January 4th. Yeah. I was just, I don't know. I was creating content, and it was, I don't know if you ever tried creating content before, it's like a daily task, right? And some days it doesn't feel good. Some days it feels great. Some days it's just like not happening. So basically for me, it was like, okay, how can I help my brain? How can I help my brain like organize all these things? How can I create a system around creating content where I don't actually have to think about it? There's just something that needs to be done every day, and I just have a system around it, which now is the case, which makes it like a machine. It just basically runs itself at this point, and I have a little bit of help with that as well. So yeah, that's basically it. Like, I think if anyone is curious, it's all a system, and that is like the most important part if you're trying to create content.
Nice. No, that's great. I mean, I'm on the content team for MQ and we talk all the time. So, I mean, I've definitely have been there making content that I don't feel great about. But I mean, it ultimately comes down to consistency. So, I mean, tell me a little bit about the daily update. Like, was your goal just to do this for yourself, force yourself to do it every day, so you made it public, or are you trying to build sort of a sentiment tracking on the market?
Well, like at the time, it was just a simple thing I just kind of was doing for myself, and it was an experiment. And I think on the first day, the Virtuals account with now 200,000 followers retweeted it, and I had no connection to the team really. Maybe yeah, not even really anything. Like maybe just talking on Twitter back and forth a little bit. And when they retweeted it, my engagement back then was more like, I think a good post would have a few thousand impressions, right? And I was like very happy about that some days. But then, that first one, because of their engagement, I think it ran to like 75,000 views, right? Or impressions. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is needed. And I guess this is actually what people want. And I think that's the key, right? When you're trying to create content, is just like what people want. And once you identify that, it's like go hard on that. And it is about consistency. And there are days I don't want to do it. And the days that I don't want to do it, I actually find I actually do very well. So there is like lessons in these consistencies, showing up every day, even though you don't want to. But yeah, so yeah, like going back, after the first day and the first couple of days, I was getting good feedback from just like people in the market, and they're getting so much like thank yous and everything. And then all of a sudden, the account started to grow really fast. And I've been creating content for many years, but I've been able to find like the niche that I actually care about. So for me, AI agents are like extremely interesting, as you can tell. Like I kind of live and breathe this stuff, and there's even for me who seems to be in the market all the time and keeping tabs on, like there's even too much for me to keep track of, right? That's why I just rituals, and I do of course like keep up with all the other different top projects on Solana and even on ZK Sync and these. I'm aware of like everything, but it's so hard to actually like do your diligence on every single product. So I'm just saying there is opportunity out there for anyone listening who wants to create content, and I actually have a small content creator like community that we try to create more AI related content and grow our accounts together. So if anyone listening to this would like to be a part of that, please just DM me and we can talk about that as well.
Dude, that's awesome. And yeah, I'm very curious what brought you to virtual. I mean, they definitely were like the premier launchpad for AI agents to start. I definitely think they have a really solid team of builders and have been doing it for years. But definitely over the past couple of months, it seems like they've lost some market share. Again, so is most of the market. But I also agree completely with what you were saying. It just got to be too much where I was trying to balance Solana and Virtual. I couldn't do it. So I usually just try to put my attention week to week as to like, okay, what has the inflows right now, right? Like if money's coming to Solana, I'll focus on Solana. If money's coming to Virtual, I'll have the prototype tab open, really just scouting over there.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think for me, in the virtual thing was like I always like the culture around Base or Ethereum in general is a bit different than Solana, right? The thing is with, especially in like the prototype stage, and yeah, even like sentient stage, like that's like the bonding after it bonds, it goes sentient. Um, the thing about the Base and the Ethereum culture is that people hold for a very long time versus like the Solana culture. And I think obviously Ethereum culture is like much older, much more mature. So at least for virtuals, which is, I came from the Solana trenches too, and it just became exhausting a lot, right? So when you go to like, for example, the virtuals, and maybe it's Base, maybe it's just like people sitting AI agents, but people just hold the tokens, right? They'll buy it 100K market cap, and the token will just like go straight up to like 1 million, 3 million before it starts like retracing. I know Solana does that too, for sure, on certain projects, but it seemed like the hit rate was like much higher, because it's like, oh, there's a reputable building this cool product, and everyone's just like holding this token, and it just seemed like it was just so much. It's way less stress, I would say. That's what kind of brought me to virtuals and kind of like keeps me in the ecosystem. And furthermore, the Solana expansion happened about 7 hours ago, and I was expecting it to be I was expecting it to be kind of crazy, and I just woke up, but I was just kind of the numbers. But there was 130 launches on the AI agent launchpad so far. About 127 of those were rug pulls, and then over the last like 2 hours, only like one or two agents have launched. And I think that is interesting because there are obviously a lot of scammers coming to take advantage of the influx of maybe attention or potential sideline capital. Because to be honest, there is a lot of people waiting for the right project to drop, and just to like absolutely ape. This is 100% true on the Solana launchpad right now. But yeah, to my surprise, it's all these rugs launch, and then the past few hours, only a couple launch because it does require like about 100 tokens, 100 virtual tokens to launch an agent. So I'm assuming all the scammers are like, this is actually really expensive for a pump fund. It's basically free, right? So now we're starting to see, I think, this like Ethereum-based virtual culture of like holding and researching and supporting good builders. Now it's on Solana with like the attention liquidity that is developing, and it's so early, 7 hours, but we're starting to see at least one small trend pick up with like the scammers, regular rug pulls. That is interesting and definitely worth keeping an eye on.
Dude, that's awesome. And yeah, I know when they used to be on base, one of the issues with that exploit for prototypes, and like I remember, it used to be exactly to your point, like pretty easy, high rate, just kind of sit back, look for notable dev or notable product, and you would just see things launch. But there was like an exploitable mechanic of base, which is that you needed token approvals for all of your launches, basically. So what snipers would do is just come in, snipe the entire supply of a token, and then if the developer approved the spend of their token, basically indicating they might sell it, the snipers could just sell ahead of them once they saw that. So if you're a sniper, you are basically incentivized to snipe any project, and then if you own 100% of the supply, right? If someone buys $100 or $1,000 after you, you can just sell your entire supply pretty much risk free. If you see the dev start to approve their token, you can just get out before the dev has a chance to sell on you. So it might be that switch to Solana where you don't have that token approval that's removing that ability for the snipers.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough. I enjoyed that. I was supporting a project called Fredbot, which was it wasn't a sniper tool. It was like a trading tool, and you're able to speculate on shitcoins based off of very little information. But it did have like an anti-rug function, which was that right. If the dev was going to approve the sell, then it would sell your tokens for you, which was extremely helpful many times, right? So not having that Solana is good and bad, but I think yeah, it's gonna change the way that people are looking at tokens for sure.
Yeah, it definitely will. It's funny you brought up Fredbot. That was an early virtual play for me. I definitely remember holding it for a little bit. But yeah,
Nice.
I'm really curious to see, like, do you have any other thoughts besides this trend that's emerging of what you think might happen with virtual on Solana? Do you think that was a strong pivot from the team?
I think so. I like it. It's just it. You know how these chains work, right? They're just like in their own silos, where it should be interoperable and it should be multi-chain. Like I'm in the total boat that like everything is just going to be interoperable, right? It will be, right? That's what everything's working towards. It's just like moving to your product from chain A to T. It is just like front running that, and I think they should, because we were going through a list of projects before, right? And I'm pretty certain that this, if project A, B, or C that I was mentioning, that's around like 3, 4, or 5 million market cap, was on Solana. There's a chance that it could be, much higher at this point, just because that liquidity is there. I don't know. I think it's a good thing, and I think it is attractive to builders. And at the end of the day, if you want to build EVM, you do it on Base. If you want SVM, you do it on Sol. So there is attracting to all these devs, and the Solana dev community is just the fastest growing community in across Web3, right? So it's good for bringing on builders, and at the end of the day, virtuals need builders. That's what's going to support the ecosystem.
Yeah, could not agree more. I am curious, going a little bit back to our discussion about makes a good agent. In other periods of crypto, we saw the emergence of different metas. Going back to that thought that the whole meta now is just P and L. Do you think that there's still going to be little pockets of stuff? I know on virtual specifically, there was sort of a trend of researcher bots for a little bit, and we saw projects like Exemplar and R come out that were very focused on like DeSci. I personally am a little skeptical as the actual like adoption and application of these tools, but I'm curious if you think we're going to go beyond just profit with some of these agents and get into different metas that lead the way for the couple of weeks, or if it is all just going to come back to who's making the most P&L.
Interesting, right? There's a couple of questions there where you think, okay, does every AI agent need a token? I don't know, right? I think there are certain cases where yes. I think I guess what it comes down to on the other side is, does your AI need financial skills? And if it does, then crypto AI agents are really great for that. Obviously, for being able to transact autonomously without permission. So if you're looking at a DeSci agent, obviously doing really great work for the future of AI and humanity in general, right? Working towards like a pretty significant vision. At what point does that project necessarily need those crypto rails? And you could argue that it does need it to value exchange with another project to create a partnership, potentially autonomously, which is fun to think about. It's like, we need this data or we need that to execute this and that. So therefore, this token or this, like our token, our supply can be used to pay for whatever we need from that agent over there or that person over there. So, I mean, yeah, it's like if you're looking for speculation, I mean, there are a lot of agents for that. But then, I'm definitely like defending like kind of the other side where it's like maybe not as sexy projects, because I think those, at the end of the day, they do need like their token and like their own treasury to be able to transact for value in the future.
Yeah, very good point there. I do want to ask you, like, P&L aside, what would you say is the most interesting concept? It doesn't even have to be something that's been fully, realized yet, but just in terms of concepts for an agent, what's really caught your attention the most?
Outside of PNL,
Yeah, outside of P&L.
I think there's one particular project that I've been talking to the dev, and they're launching on Solana, I believe, today, called Zero DAO. They're like, that's not the name of the project. You can look at it. It's Vidra is like the name of the project, but super interesting project because it autonomously turns your tweets into like brain rot videos with like narration and subtitles and everything, which to me is like, you could say like, hey, well, what's like the speculative value of that, or like, well, how much is that worth as like a token? But at the end of the day, it's like, as a content creator, that's very interesting because there are people who are just like doom scrolling videos, right? Like they're just scrolling through, and then there is a potential that your video could pop up, and therefore you're now attacking an entirely new audience with your content, right? So that project is very to me, and I'm very curious how that's going to go with the market, because at the end of the day, I don't know how the market responds to these projects. So there is a lot of, they've done their diligence and they're a strong team, so it's going to be cool to see. Aside from that, yeah, I think the whole like social side of AI agents is going to be really interesting. I mean, the leveraging of the large language models is really great, but like when we start niching down into small language models, creating like these personalities, and it's not about just like chatbots. It's about creating content. It's like creating content, like strong quality content on in your favorite game. Like the NPCs are like actually feel real, or even just like your trading terminal, like having like that relationship, or you've seen the movie Her, and now like people like in love with like actual like agents with personalities. That stuff is very interesting to me, and right now the content creation is not there yet because it's so relied on large language models where you get just like outputs that are mainly ChatGPT or whatever whatever model they're using. So yeah, I'm very interested in that. Acolyte, one of the top projects on Virtuals, they launched a new initiative called Signal, which is working towards letting your, like if you plug it in, your agent will be able to set a goal for mindshare, and then your agent will figure out and strategize on social media how to like reach that mindshare threshold on its own. So that stuff is super cool too. So that's definitely interesting to look forward to.
Oh wow, that's an awesome update. I didn't realize Acolyte added that to their vision, but yeah, you bring up a great point. Are you have you ever heard of Naval Ravikant? He's like a prolific angel investor. A lot of people in the space like him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of his big things is that like the two things you can do to consistently create value for yourself are coding or making content. But I mean, it's indisputable just in 2025 that content is such a big part of the attention economy and like the direct economy to that regard, right? Like so much of just how you can influence buyers, especially in crypto, and get them to stuff is through content. So I love that you're also focusing as content as a means of accruing value. That makes a ton of sense.
Content is a superpower, and I can tell you firsthand, based off just creating daily updates, how my life has improved for the better. Just being able to create better relationships. Yeah, I do have my own project that I was working on the back end of last year, and it is like a social-fi project. And we're always trying to figure out like the best way to go to market and figure out what communities to help. And I can honestly say content creation has made that process a lot easier, where now people are like, oh, Graham, I like him, I trust him, let's work with him. So if anyone listening, like I said, content is a superpower. If you're not technical, you have to, not, I'm saying you have to, but I'm saying if you want to kind of get to the next level of your career, I have to recommend creating content as a way to do that. And like I said, I have a content creating community, and you can DM me if you're interested in leveling up.
That's awesome. Is that Crimson? I noticed a lot of your messaging on the site, and I sent you some email invites had Crimson in them.
Correct, Crimson. That is it.
Very cool. Yeah. So, what would you say is like your ultimate goal as a content creator, or is there like a dream piece of content that you have in mind that you'd like to, work up towards?
No, I'm fine. I think for me, it comes back to, again, Crimson. My goal is to bring others up, honestly. So the whole thing with Crimson is that we want to reward creators all across the world for their quality content. And they could be from anywhere, right? So a lot of our earliest community was from developing countries, and they're just like trying to make some money to like provide for their family. And it's really like heartwarming stuff. And you just want to like support these people. And for me, I'm not trying to become like this caller. Like if you look at my content, I'm not actually like calling anything. It's all like impartial, because I don't want to go down that route. I just want to, other people do this as well, because I see the benefits. And obviously being able to like get Crimson to a point where we're now like able to like plug people into like earning opportunities for the content. That's it for me.
I love that, dude. Very wholesome. So I know we talked about wrapping this up at about 45 minutes. You said that that's probably what your brain can take this early in the morning. But I do want to
Well,
invite the audience to ask some questions, because every episode we just do a little Q&A. So we'll see who we got in the audience today. But if anyone wants to come speak with Graham about content creation, about the virtual ecosystem, about where AI agents might be headed, feel free. Just throw a little request on the bottom left there. We can bring you right on up. But other than that, Graham, I'll ask you just, keeping up with agents is another big thing, right? You gave that update on Acolyte that I hadn't heard of. I was wondering if you have any personal process that you do to keep tabs on a market that, especially with this, there's a lot of like progression and building from these teams. I personally struggle to just keep up to like, where are these projects that I looked at once a week ago and I'm out? What are they up to now? Do you have any tips for like how we can stay locked in as the space evolves?
create daily updates. I mean, at least for yourself. I think the best way to do it is identify the area of your interest, because you do need to show up every single day. So you have to have that, and create lists of people on Twitter or any social media that are going to give you the announcements that you need to know about. And then for me, it's about actually the process of picking out the best announcements, and the process of putting them into like kind of like a storyline. Like the daily update isn't like random, right? That intentionality is like pretty important for contextualizing, categorizing, and understanding what's going on. So I would recommend just create a system and just make sure that you're being intentional about making sure that you are like taking it seriously, because that's where you could let things slip, right? If you're not totally in on it. And that's where it comes back to the beginning, where it's like you have to be interested in a thing. It can't just be like, oh, I don't like meme coins, but I'm going to do meme coins. I think at the end of the day, you have to find thing, and that's where you're going to find your biggest success.
I totally agree, dude. Yeah, I can just think back to my history in crypto and like, I've introduced other people and tell them that I'm making money here, but it just never translates unless they have shared the same almost obsession with just the market. Like you really just need to be all in. It needs to be something that you're just like the phone or the computer and just scrolling down, seeing update after update. Like if you're just checking one thing and going, oh, okay, well, people are saying to buy this, like there's just no way you're going to be long-term successful in this field.
Definitely not. No, you're buying the top. You're looking at content. Well, there's levels to it. There are certain accounts that are like top signals.
Yeah, for For sure. Are there any good accounts that you would recommend for people who want to get a little bit more glued into the AI space? Any good Twitter X?
Oh yeah, there's the big ones, which are Sammy with the four instead of the S, 4MMY. He does basically must read updates twice a day to stay plugged in across all of AI crypto, which I have no idea how he does that. It's super impressive. OX Jeff or 0x Jeff also creates long form content basically every single day about the AI market. And out of the virtuals ecosystem, there's Nick Plays Crypto. He does lots of spaces with projects, creates even like videos about going through his process of investment. And yeah, let me say, I'm blanking now. There's definitely more, but yeah, there's Vader Research. Like we have like a program in virtuals that we help bring up like projects that are under appreciated. At first, it was like it's called Prototype to Sentience program. Prototype being unbonded, sentience being post-bonded. And our job is to basically give these prototype agents a chance to get visibility and maybe some injection of liquidity. We put in 10,000 virtual tokens into each project that we should have it. And then those tokens that we buy from their project gets airdropped their community when they go sentient in the future. But the good thing is with that program is that we now are able to use that for sentient agents as well now. So even like the sentient agents that are under lack of visibility, just getting buried by like the amount of new launches, we're able to like support these. So all that to say is we do like a show called Virtuals Den basically once a week, where now we can have like all these like pretty quality sentient and prototype agent teams come on our show and kind of pitch us so they can get some visibility, and we'll inject liquidity at the end of the show. And that's OX Jeff, that's Nick Plays Crypto, that's Vader Research, that's myself, that's 100X Darren. He's great to follow too. He's always posting about projects. I'm definitely missing some other ones, so apologies to whoever I'm missing. But yeah, these are some must follow accounts.
Dude, appreciate it. Yeah, I definitely am familiar with most of them, but always great to get a bigger list there. Definitely for the audience, give them a follow. I'm curious, when you said Vader Research, are you part of their team or you're just part of these virtual den conversations that they're hosting?
Yeah, I'm just part of the prototype program, and we just do the virtuals den thing just for a bit of fun.
Gotcha. No, it's a super fun time, and definitely want to reach out to some of these people here, see if we can have them on the show at this point. But yeah, I think we're closing in hour. So Grim, really appreciate your time. Definitely for anyone listening, please give Grim a follow. He puts a ton of work into the virtual daily update. And again, man, just really want to commend you on the content. Like I said, that's how I just cold DM'd you. I was looking at virtuals, consistently saw your content. It was like, this guy clearly has a grasp on the market. So just appreciate you waking up early, all the way out in Asia. Happy to push the show back a little bit for you, but really happy to have you on.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was great. It's actually a great way to wake up in the morning, have a nice conversation with you. So thanks for having me on.
Of course. Is there anything you want to leave the viewers with? Any final thoughts on the AI agent space, virtuals, or anything else content related to you?
Honestly, there's just one message, is that if you're interested in AI agents, crypto AI agents, market retracement, there is going to be a bottom at some point. And there are going to be opportunities, not just buying tokens, but the products that are coming out and the builders that are building them. Definitely recommend plugging in and finding these teams who are frankly building potentially life-changing products. So definitely check them out now while prices are low or before they launch, especially with the Solana expansion.
Awesome. Really appreciate it, Graham. Thank you so much for a great episode 5 here. For everyone tuning in the evening, thank you so much. We'll catch you next week. Graham, thank you so much again for your time. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you.